Hey, it's Chris. Welcome to my iPad mini unboxing. This is probably the thing I was most excited about from the iPhone 13 event. And I got it right here along with the mini Smart Folio and the Apple Pencil V2. Gonna get them all unboxed, give you some first impressions, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing it. Before we get too far here, let me just mention the actual specs that I've got here. This is the 256 gig version. It's the Wi-Fi Plus cellular model, and it is the new Starlight color, which I can't wait to see because it's kind of a combination of silver and gold. There's a lot of firsts when it comes to this iPad mini. Oh, it's so small. I love this. There's something about this that makes it so appealing. Oh, wow, there's that Starlight right there. I do see that gold in there. It's almost like champagne-y, actually. What I'm probably gonna do is insert a little bit of B-roll right here so you guys can kind of see for yourselves what it looks like under normal office circumstances. I'm kind of already falling in love with this thing. And as it turns on here, I just wanna mention, I feel like this is sort of the epitome of a real tablet experience because it's so small. You could pair a Bluetooth keyboard with it, but you probably wouldn't want to. This is so much cooler than the old iPad mini. It's really like an iPad Air mini. I feel like this might make me reconsider my Kindle. It's such a good size just for holding it. And if I'm gonna do anything like watch YouTube videos or maybe like read articles or ebooks, this is just gonna be incredible. It's so light, it feels great. Okay, real quick, what else is in the box? We've got your usual pamphlets. Hey, check it out. Not only does this have a USB-C port on it, which the iPhones don't, but it still comes with the power brick in your box. That's kind of a novelty these days. Okay, so as this is setting up, I just wanna point out, we have the volume buttons up on top here for the first time. And they're not just the plain old vanilla volume buttons that you've come to expect on an iPad. This is sort of an orientationless device. So whatever way I end up turning this, the volume up is always going to be on the top. So if I flip this over, then what used to be the volume down has just become the volume up. That's pretty cool, I like that change. Something else that's new is that the power button now has Touch ID, and you can see on the setup screen here, I can come up and just scan my fingerprints. I liked it on the iPad Air, so I'll just say that as we get into this. I love the setup on any iPad. My phone just said, set up your iPad. I tapped on yes. Now I'm just restoring from the cloud. So easy, enjoy my new iPad. I will. But look, here's another look at that new Starlight color for you. So as this finishes setting up, what's actually new here? What it really comes down to is a larger screen, a faster processor, that refined design, which is kind of like the iPad Air, and this USB-C port, which I'm gonna love. All right, while I'm waiting for that restoration to happen, I'm gonna go ahead and check out the Smart Folio here. Oh, I like this color. What color is this? Okay, this is called Electric Orange. It is electric. I think you're definitely gonna wanna pick one of these up to keep your iPad not only just in good shape, but if you're gonna do any kind of FaceTiming or watching videos, maybe doing some gaming with a controller, you want an easy way to prop it up, and that's exactly what you're gonna get here, just like always. So here's what it looks like with the case. You're getting a shot of the speakers there. I like how they still pop out because this is the first time that we're getting a stereo speaker experience here, which I'm definitely gonna appreciate. Obviously, our camera is still visible here and it's left room for the flash and for this mic. This just feels like holding a book, honestly, especially with this cover here. Oh, look at that. Hello. Yeah. What I like about this iPad already is that it really has its own personality. This feels like its own thing, like it deserves to exist. And by the way, my review is going to be coming up, so make sure that you're subscribed. I mean, I'm gonna try everything and let you know what it's like. Now, as you can see the Apple Pencil box here, it almost seems like it would be too big to work with this. So I'm kind of curious to see what it actually looks like with an Apple Pencil attached. This is the V2 Apple Pencil. It's not new this year. What's new is that you can use it with this mini. And it's not just that you can use it with this mini, it's that it can pair and charge with the mini. And look at that, it does fit. And there's even a little extra room at the sides. It does have a very different feel from any other iPad I've ever used. It feels more like a digital notebook, I think, by the time you get the Apple Pencil added in. One thing I'm gonna do is pair a Paperlike with this as soon as I find out that they've made it for this. Because with the last iPad mini, I realized that I actually really liked using the Apple Pencil even though the screen was smaller than an iPad Air or an iPad Pro. And I did quite a bit of note-taking with that last mini, and you know what? It wasn't a worse experience. It was just a different experience. What happened was, as I started using it, I felt like I adapted to the screen immediately. And just think about how portable this thing is gonna be too. Part of me is already feeling like, what iPad Pro, what iPad Air? You know, I've used both of those. You can check out my unboxings and reviews and content about those two devices, but there's something really special about this particular iPad. I think when people see this at the store for the first time, they're gonna go nuts for it. I was excited about it when I heard about it, but now that I've had it in hand, I think it's gonna be going with me everywhere. All right, well look, this thing starts at $499, so it's not like it's cheap. So let's be realistic about what we're saying and managing expectations. And that price, of course, is before you go in and add in anything extra. Apple Pencil, that's 99 bucks. Extra storage, 5G, all those upgrades cost. One thing I'm really interested in here is what iPadOS 15 multitasking is like on this size screen. All right, so check this out. I've got Apple Notes open over here on the left, and I've got Apple News open over here on the right. All right, so if I wanna drag and drop something, what is that like? So let me grab some text and highlight and drag it over, and that works real nicely. I feel like one way that I'm gonna use this device is to do research on it. Oftentimes when I'm making a video, I like to read stuff, I like to mark it up, I like to organize my notes before I actually get into making a script. And the multitasking here, it works good. It's not bad. In fact, it's really enjoyable, I would say. But I'm about to try Quick Note, which I think is going to be brilliant on this size of an iPad. I can grab some text here, and I can clip it over here, or I can just highlight it and then say add to Quick Note, and it will clip it with kind of a quote looking interface. And this is just such an awesome interface, and it feels really natural to be using it on this mini screen. I'm just picturing right now needing a change of scenery, getting out of my office, out of the house, heading to the coffee shop, bringing only this, and getting some actual work done. I think obviously people are gonna think of this as a leisure device, something that you can plop down on the couch with. As I'm checking out what video looks like here, and it looks great by the way, it's so nice to hold this in your hand, it's not heavy, I'm not getting fatigued while I'm watching this. But my old iPad mini, the one with the chin and the forehead and the old home button, that sat around neglected for the last, well, year. At least. But this is making me wonder if I'm not gonna start neglecting my iPad Pro for certain things because it's so enjoyable. There's something about this one. It's drawing me in. I gotta tell you too, the speakers on this thing are great. I was just listening to some music on here, and you know what? This thing gets louder than you would think. See, if you're wondering, is this just for consuming or can you actually create stuff on here too? Well, look, this is what one of my favorite apps, MindNode, the mind mapping app, looks like. And this is not hard to type on at all. I got a great mind map started here, and I can sit here and make mind maps on here all day. And this is small enough too that even if you're using the full-size software keyboard, I can still reach everything with my thumbs. And I don't have to use the swipe keyboard. I can, and that's great, but I think I can type even a little bit faster if I expand that and just actually get to work with my fingers. Just like this. Screen is feeling nice and vibrant. I can notice that it doesn't have Pro Motion on here. I can notice that as somebody coming from the iPad Pro, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, you have to have fair expectations for devices. So I've got Affinity Designer open here, and one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is that there's some space in between where the bezel ends and where the tool palettes are resting here. So whatever it is about the aspect ratio, Affinity hasn't updated their app. So I'm missing almost an Apple Pencil's width of space on each side, but the screen itself is very colorful and vibrant, and I'm sure that Affinity will get this updated soon. Now Procreate, on the other hand, has the app working perfectly, and what's interesting is I don't feel limited at all with the smaller size of this canvas here. I'm actually finding this really, really fun to use at this size. The only thing I'm really missing is my Paperlike because I just don't have it yet for this size, but I can fix that shortly. The Apple Pencil is super responsive on here, and I love that I can just click it onto the top and get out of here. This is such a compact, portable, lightweight, take it with you anywhere device. I may not even bring a backpack or something to carry it around with me. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna stick it in my pocket. It's not that small, but it's such an awesome size. So just kind of thinking about, well, would I ever use this to get some actual work done? Because I personally probably wouldn't end up hooking up a Bluetooth keyboard. I would go a different route if I was gonna do some actual typing. But here's a Jarvis.ai document. If you've heard me talk about Jarvis in the past, it's an AI writing app that can write for you and make you write better, supplement your writing. And here is my iPhone 13 buying guide script here that I created in Jarvis. And what I would do here is just use voice dictation to make things happen. And then I would let Jarvis get to work. I would hit the compose button and Jarvis starts typing for me. And in that way, I could get some serious work done. So it's not like you couldn't do some actual real work on here. In fact, I think I might enjoy it. All right, so I'm gonna check out Human Nature, a book by David Berlinski, one of my favorite authors, just to kind of see what is it like to use this as a reading device. I think that's gonna be a popular thing to do here. And you know what? The default text here means that I can fit a lot of text on this screen without having to turn the page. I think with the pencil here, I'm really gonna like tapping on one of my highlights and being able to make a note here with my Apple Pencil. And obviously using the scribble feature is going to be a slower way to input text, but it's enjoyable. And if you actually need to get something done, it's not like you can't respond to a text message using Scribble and the Apple Pencil. In a lot of ways, I feel like this thing was made for the Apple Pencil. They just pair really well together. I think this is gonna be an amazing device for FaceTime, for Zoom meetings, because it has the center stage feature now enabled. Ever since I first tried center stage on an iPad, I became almost addicted to it. It would be hard for me to go back to using a device that didn't have center stage. It's funny for me to see the new iPadOS 15 widgets so small on the screen here, but they're not so small that they're not enjoyable or not useful. You know, I can very clearly make out the weather forecast here. One thing I'm excited about here is that I can shoot 4K video on the back of this. I know people are gonna be like, why are you excited about that? Don't you have an iPhone? There is a real benefit, as a video person, I can tell you this, to being able to stick something this size on a tripod in your office. Let's say you're a small business and you need to record a little commercial. You can shoot, edit, and publish all from one little powerful device. I mean, there's something cool to be said about that. And you know what? LumaFusion is going to be awesome on this device. It actually might even be more fun editing video on something like this. It's so easy to hold in my hand right here. And this is an absolutely amazing size device for editing photos. I'm just realizing that. Wow. Just with the size of this, I feel like I've actually just picked up like a paper photo, except it's not because it's digital and it's so light and it's just like drawing on that photo to make these edits. So I've opened up Darkroom here and I can get my S-curve going and just kind of mess around with the edit there. I love it, but I'm seeing that there's actual utility to having something that isn't as enormous as the iPad Pro, even for creative work. There's a benefit to having this smaller screen that's super comfortable to hold with one hand and now have Apple Pencil V2 support. I'm just enthralled with this thing. It's so cool. I mean, some things are kind of almost hilariously small. Look how tiny my icons are at the bottom of the dock down here when I've got it held in this orientation. So, you know, while I am enjoying this, I can also see how this is not gonna be for everybody. One thing we all know is that this is gonna be amazing for gaming, especially for handheld. You know, if you're not gonna be using a controller, if you're gonna be doing some touch gaming, if you're gonna be using the on-screen touch controls, this is such a great size because obviously this is gonna be more immersive than your iPhone and yet not as cumbersome as like an iPad Air or an iPad Pro. There's so many people who are gonna love this thing. Readers, gamers, anybody who likes to watch Netflix or YouTube. I think photographers are absolutely gonna love this because you got this USB-C now, so I can literally go out, use my Sony A7 whatever, and take some insane pictures with great lenses, pop them right into the iPad, and get to work editing. I see this becoming so many people's go-to Christmas present request this year. So yeah, there's your unboxing with some quick thoughts and impressions and demos. Obviously, my actual review of this product is gonna be coming up, and I'm gonna put it through its paces. Drop me some comments with what you want me to review and go in depth on, and to compare this to, you know? I got all the other iPads laying around, so if you wanna see those size comparisons, we'll do that too. I'm not even to everything I have to unbox, so keep that in mind. Another reason to get subscribed. Check out the podcast, the Hey It's Chris podcast. I wanna hang out with you there. We'll talk about behind the scenes stuff. We'll talk about Apple news. We'll talk about other stuff. So it's kinda like hanging out with a friend. That's linked up down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.